German Chancellor Friedrich Merz delivered a stark warning to European leaders, declaring that the continent's economy stands on the edge of irreversible industrial decline unless immediate action is taken to dismantle bureaucratic obstacles and restore competitiveness. Speaking ahead of pivotal European Council negotiations, Merz emphasized that factories are shuttering at an alarming rate. Exports are weakening and businesses lack the regularity, certainty needed to invest in long-term growth. He attributed much of Europe's vulnerability to its own policy choices, particularly climate regulations and trade frameworks that, while well-intentioned, have inadvertently eroded the bloc's industrial base in comparison to more agile competitors like the United States and China. His call for an urgent fix resonated across capital grappling with energy insecurity and inflation, but it also exposed deep ideological rift within the EU over how to balance strategic autonomy with economic realism. As Brussels finalized its 19th sanctions package against Russia, coordinated closely with Washington, Merz cautioned that further economic pressure must not come at the cost of European self-sufficiency, especially in critical sectors like steel, chemicals, and advanced manufacturing. The EU's latest sanctions represent its most aggressive economic offensive yet, targeting Russian liquefied natural gas (LNG) imports, mandating a complete phase-out of Russian pipeline gas by 2028, and imposing strict controls on Moscow's shadow fleet of tankers used to circumvent price caps, announced in tandem with U.S. measures against Rosneft and Lukoil. The package aims to sever key revenue streams funding Russia's war machine. Ukrainian officials hailed the move as a potential turning point, but Moscow dismissed it as self-inflicted economic chaos, arguing that Europe will suffer more than Russia from energy shortage and price volatility. Within the European Parliament, the proposal ignited fierce debate, with Polish MEP Daniel Objection accusing Brussels of hypocrisy for continuing indirect energy purchases through third countries, while German MEP Petra Steger warned that ordinary citizens would bear the brunt of higher heating and electricity costs. These tensions reflect a broader unease about the sustainability of the sanctions regime, particularly as European industries struggle to secure affordable and reliable energy alternatives in a market increasingly shaped by geopolitical competitions rather than free trade. Compounding these challenges is the EU controversial plan to leverage frozen Russian assets estimated at $225 billion held primarily in Belgium's Euroclear clearinghouse to finance a €140 billion reparation loans for Ukraine. The mechanisms would allow Kyiv to borrow against these assets without formally confiscating them, thereby sidestepping legal hurdles under international law. However, the proposal has hit a major roadblock due to resistance from Belgium, whose Prime Minister Bart De Wever insists that his country cannot shoulder the legal and retaliatory risk alone. De Wever demanded unanimous EU backing and ironclad legal guarantees before proceeding, warning that Moscow could respond by seizing Western corporate assets in Russia, a threat that has already prompted caution among major European businesses. Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has championed the initiative, arguing that Russia must financially bear the consequence of its aggression, and has pushed for greater EU coordinations on defense procurement and climate policy to strengthen collective resilience. Yet without full consensus, the plan remains stalled, highlighting the difficulty of translating moral imperative into actionable policy in a union of 27 sovereign states with divergent interests. Further complicating the European response is Hungary's vocal opposition to the prevailing Western strategy. Prime Minister Viktor Orbán condemned the coalition of the willing, comprising the US, UK, and several EU members, for prolonging the war by flooding Ukraine with weapons and funding. He claimed that an American-led peace initiative had been sabotaged by Brussels, asserting that the conflict could have ended months ago, if not for ideological rigidity among EU elites. Orbán's remark, though dismissed by many allies as self-serving, have amplified existing fractures within the bloc over the wisdom of unconditional military support for Kyiv. As winter approaches and energy markets remain volatile, these divisions threaten to undermine the coherence of Europe's stance. Meanwhile, the deployment of over 6,000 U.S. troops and naval assets to the Caribbean under President Trump's orders ostensibly to combat drug trafficking, but viewed by Caracas as a prelude to regime change, has drawn attentions away from Europe, raising questions about the durability of transatlantic focus on Ukraine. With Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro boasting of a 5,000-unit arsenal of Russian-made Igla-S anti-aircraft missiles and U.S. Special Operations Forces on high alert, global security priorities are fragmenting. In this context, Europe's ability to maintain unity, protect its industrial future, and sustain meaningful support for Ukraine will depend not only on policy design but on overcoming deep-seated political and economic fault lines that grow more pronounced with each passing month. If you have made it this far, congratulations, you have unlocked the truth. I want to ask you a quick question though. Can the EU survive its internal divisions over Russian sanctions, frozen assets, and energy policies? Or will Orbán's rebellion and Belgium's legal objections fracture Western unity just when Ukraine needs it most? And why? Join the debate. We want to hear your insightful opinion on where this is all heading in our community. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video, hit the notification bell, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.